but he could not prove a cent of his income. So I was working at East Charlotte Nissan, and it was a great place to work. It was very fun, great atmosphere, but there were some characters that came in. I mean, the people that buy Nissans, they're either really, really, really bad credit. I mean, like, you're talking like 500s, just come in expecting to finance a $60,000 car, or there's the people coming in to buy like the GT-Rs, and most people that come in to buy Armadas and Titans are a little bit better. This guy came in, and he walks in, and everybody kind of looks at me like, you're the new guy, you go take him. So I walk up to him and say, how can I help you? He just looks at the GT-R. It's 2017 Nissan GT-R, like Nismo Black Edition. Just the name just kept going. There was a pretty substantial markup on it because it was like one of two in the state at the time. So he comes in and says, I want it. Just kind of points at it, kind of like the guy that held me up in the bank did. Just, I want it. So I'm like, okay, you know, before we can take it on a test drive, we need to know that you're serious. I'm like, do you want to finance, you know, or what are we doing? He's like, well, I'd like to finance, but I don't have a provable source of income. I make, you know, I think he said $500,000 or $600,000 a year, which would be fine, you know, you can finance it with that. But he could not prove a cent of his income. I mean, we were asking him, so do you have any pay stubs? No. All this is in a heavy, heavy Russian accent. I would do it, but I would offend a lot of people. No, can't prove it. What do you do? I work for a trucking company. We also do, like, I think he said, like, garbage collection or something, and we're all kind of getting weirded out at this point. He brings over his trade, which is a dually. It's a brand new, off the lot dually, Dodge, you know, 3500, but it's jacked up. I mean, it is. I'm like 6'3", and I had to like jump to get in it, and it is the most upside down I've ever seen a person in a car. And we tell them, you know, the bank won't finance you because, one, you can't prove your income. Two, you're carrying too much, and you know the loan won't carry the amount you're upside down in this, plus the markup on the car. He bought it as a dealership, like dealership already jacked it up, so they hiked up those prices as well. So I think he paid like 70 or 80 for it, and we maybe offered him like 55. I mean, maybe, if not less. This guy, we're all like, man, I don't know what we can do. You got any cash to put down? He's like, maybe got something. He walks out to his truck, which has been unlocked this entire time. I mean, East Charlotte Nissan is not in the best area. It's not in the worst area, but it's not in the best area. So this truck has been unlocked. He walks out and just grabs like a sack. I mean, I best can describe it as a potato sack, you know. And so he walks out and just kind of haphazardly dumps it on the table. And there's enough to like cover his trade, like the upside down on his trade, and then half the car. And then the banks were like, yeah, we'll take a chance. Every bank immediately when we had the finance guy call him and say, yeah, he's got so much down. They're like, yeah, we'll take a chance on him. The legal maximum we could charge somebody in Charlotte, and I believe in North Carolina, was 18%. I think his was like in between 10 and 14. My payday was pretty good at this point, you know, because it's a markup on the car, and usually I'm dealing with minis, you know, like the $200 cars, you know, like $200 just to pay rent. But at this point, I'm ecstatic. So I'm not even paying attention to finance. Once I heard the deal went through, I got the car out of the showroom, backed it up. You know, I'm white-knuckled. I've never driven anything this expensive before in my life. You know, I'm white-knuckled looking over my shoulder. You know, the porters were like, I'm not touching it. I think I made like $2,000 or $3,000 on it, which at the time, being, you know, 18, and it was a good amount of money. I mean, it covered rent for 3 or 4 months. And so that's the day I sold a Nissan GT-R to a Russian gangster.